Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Bill Levinson, Managing Partner with Levinson Associates. With me today, we have Joseph Loughran, our Marketing VP, and then we have two special guest speakers joining us today. So I want to thank both of them for taking the time. We have Gene joining us from Exam 1 and then Jonathan Sachs from American National. So some great stuff to go over. You know, obviously it's a challenging time right now for all of us personally and in the business world. But it's our job to make sure that A, we equip all of our agents with the necessary technology and websites and e-applications and products and everything else that goes along with it, so you could still be dangerous selling from home, okay, or your home office or your converted garage, whatever the case is. What's kind of neat and interesting is, if you recall, I mean, I remember 10, 11 years ago, I was sitting at the NAFA conference, the NALBA panel, the LIMRA panel, in fact, and I was sitting knee to knee with Bill Atlee, the founder of iPipeline, and it was our job to preach to the carriers and how important it was to have an e-application or a drop ticket moving into the future. And, you know, the P&C world and the health insurance world, they were already there. So me and Bill Atlee from iPipeline are scratching our heads saying, well, oh my gosh, you know, how can the life industry be so far behind? And we were preaching to all the carriers that in order to grow and move forward, you're going to have to incorporate some kind of e-application and drop ticket. And, you know, then you fast forward to today in 2020, even before this whole epidemic, there were agents calling us saying, hey, I don't even care about the carrier anymore. I just want the carrier and products that have an e-application. So it's crazy how things have changed. And now, you know, here we are as of what, 6, 7 weeks ago, we have this coronavirus that hit us, that hit the whole world, as a matter of fact. And now the e-applications and drop tickets are crucial for us to keep doing business. So, you know, we have been looking into this for years and years. We had all the technology, and it's just kind of crazy how this whole thing unraveled, you know, and here we are and sitting in a time that no one thought would ever be possible. Okay, in my lifetime, I've never seen anything like this. But my point is, just know that we have your back. We're not going anywhere. We are open just like before. No matter what happens, everyone is either here or remote, and we are equipped to help you with every part of the insurance sales process. So with that said, you know, the big question is, well, Bill, that's great. You're helping us and the carriers are still helping us, which is wonderful. But what about the exam company, right? What if my clients can't get examined? So I thought it would be a great idea. So let me just back up for a second. We partner, there's a few exam carrier or companies, I should say, that are out there. We've partnered with Exam 1 as our primary core company that we work with since day one. So I thought it would be important to invite our Senior Sales Director, Jean Soeho, on, so she could shed some light to our agents and just let everyone on the call know that it's okay. And as far as today goes, in every state, if there's an exam that needs to be conducted, she and her company are going to be there. Okay, now obviously this is day by day, and as of right now, we are good to go, but I'm going to introduce Jean and have her speak to our agents and shed some light on this. If anyone has any questions, okay, this is a closed line because we literally have hundreds and hundreds of agents on, but if you have questions, we have that question box. Type in questions, and then we will do our best to answer them. If we don't get to all of them during the presentation, as soon as we're done, we will get every single one answered, or feel free to call or email us about anything we're going over today. Okay, so without further ado, I want to introduce Jean Soeho from Exam 1, and she's nice enough to take the time and jump on today's webinar. Jean?
Yeah, thanks, Bill. I appreciate it very much. I'm really excited to highlight the opportunity that we have together, and we've partnered with, you know, Levinson Associates for many, many years now. And I do want to I really want to let you know that we are positioned perfectly for this crisis, this pandemic. Those of you that don't know, Exam 1 is a Quest Diagnostic owned company. What that means to you is we are owned by the largest lab in the nation. Depending on the year, it's Quester LabCorp. And I'm sure you have seen our name all over the news. We are one of the primary labs, first to the market with this pull-through testing for the COVID-19. What that means to you is we have standard operating procedures that we have put in place, and we are positioned perfectly to continue these exams. As Bill mentioned, it is changing essentially minute by minute. However, we are deemed a medical necessity. The life insurance market will continue. The exams will continue. We do have some shelter in place policies we need to adhere by. That does not mean that the exam cannot be done. So I shared with Bill the slide you see right now, and I also have a couple links that I shared with him earlier that I'm completely happy that he shares with all of you. And what that'll allow you to do is get the most up-to-date information. As you know, it is changing. So some states, Pennsylvania, for instance, I believe will not allow in-home exams. They may have to go in-office exams, but all of that's going to be on the links that you can get up-to-date information. We do have PPE equipment that some of our examiners may be wearing. We have plenty of that. I know you may see on the news as well, shortages of that. We actually, again, are positioned very well for that. So we have plenty of that. Examiners may be wearing it. Right now, we are continuing on business as usual. So I highly encourage you to continue to seek out applicants and let them know that we are, of course, proceeding with caution, but we are proceeding. So we're here for you, and really grateful for the partnership, Bill. Thank you.
That's great, Jean. And Jean, just real quick, the bottom line is every single state right now, it's either in-home or the prospect can go to an actual exam one office or a doctor's office to conduct the exam. That's the bottom line as of today.
As of today, they can go to, it's in-home exams, depending, again, that link will let you know. They can go to our exam one office, but we also, and this is a great highlight, we have patient service centers around the country, 2,500 of them that Quest Diagnostics utilizes to draw blood for physicians. We have just opened those up to the life insurance exams.
Oh, that's huge.
Yes, so there are options, and I highly encourage you to, get a hold of me if you have any questions with any of that. But again, those links, Bill, those are going to let you know what's going on up to date, and that's state by state as well. It will let you know.
Yeah, that's great news. So we're going to send out that link in our thank you email along with the other brochures of everything we're going over today. But I just wanted everyone to know, that was the biggest concern was, well, hey, yes, the need for life insurance is greater than ever right now. We're getting more quote requests than we've ever had in history. And a lot of the agents said, well, that's fine, but what about the exams for my clients? So that's exactly why I wanted Jean to discuss this with our agents. So great stuff. Jean, thank you so much for joining us. And like I said, if anyone has questions, let us know. We'll get those answered. Okay, let's move forward here. And obviously, Jean spoke about clients needing an exam. Okay, now, obviously, at a time like this, wouldn't it be great to have a simplified issue product? And with American National, we can do exactly that, up to $1 million of term or permanent coverage. So today's presentation is awesome because Joe is going to highlight some of the American National highlights. And then we have a special part of the webinar by John Sachs. He's going to dive into prospecting with and for small businesses, by the way, which could also be done over the phone. So this is all great stuff. Sit back, relax, take down notes. And the reason why, we're going to give away the Amazon Fire tablet at the end, and we're going to ask a question that we went over in this presentation right now. So write down notes, pay attention, and you can start using some of these awesome products as soon as we hang up today's webinar. Joe, you there?
Yeah, thanks, Bill. So I'm going to dive into the non-med underwriting. American National has an awesome platform that integrates with an e-application. So, of course, you're doing everything over the phone and through email with your client. And so we've got two main underwriting platforms. I'm going to focus mainly on the Express Plus platform, which is on the right-hand side. You'll see I've highlighted ages 18 to 50, $250,000 up to $1 million of coverage. And then as you go to age 51 to 60, up to $500,000. The best part is with this non-med program, although there's no paramed exam, that client can still qualify for preferred plus, standard plus, or standard. And if you want maybe a smaller death benefit amount, looking at a GUL contract or maybe some term policies, anything below that 250 mark, you can get standard or substandard with that Express platform. So really, really neat, interesting e-app platform. It's really, really fast. And you can actually see when you go through the application process just how quickly this thing kind of operates. We've gotten approvals, in 24, 48 hours with the e-app system. So really neat. Uses that LexisNexis database to give us those instant results that the underwriters need to be able to make that decision very, very quickly, which is great, especially given the current environment. Not having to, have to go through a lengthy underwriting process is going to save you a lot of time. So that's the Express Plus platform. Another great reason to look at Anico, especially over the last several years, why we've really seen such a big number of applications is their top living benefits. So of course, by now, everybody I think is familiar with what living benefits are, but I want to dive into this real quickly here. So living benefits accelerate the death benefit. We've got partial acceleration, basically meaning a partial benefit, example, 25% of the death benefit can be accelerated and the remaining 75% can be accessed later if needed upon death or another accelerated event. And then we have full acceleration up to actually 100% of that death benefit. And what you'll notice about American National is when you run their quotes, you'll actually see that there's no additional fee or cost for either the terminal, the critical, or the chronic illness rider, which is amazing. Most companies say, hey, we've got one product over here, which is really inexpensive. And then if you want the living benefits, there's an added fee or an added charge. American National basically says, hey, this is our product. We're giving you these living benefits, and this is what the price is. So there's no additional quote or additional rider you have to run. When you run that Anico quote or when our marketing team sends you that quote, you'll know that those living benefits are going to be in that illustration and they're going to be included. So real quickly here, I did want to break down critical illness, which is kind of an example, a covered critical illness. It could be heart attack, cancer, stroke. That's going to actually result in the acceleration. And then you have chronic illness, which means you're unable to perform 2 out of the 6 activities of daily living or experience severe cognitive impairment. So kind of similar to our long-term care triggers inside of that life policy. You'll notice that with American National, we have this available on the GUL product as well as the GUL that's in New York, the Index Universal Life, the term product, as well as the New York term product, and then their whole life product as well. So available on all those products, whereas some carriers make you kind of pick and choose which product is accessible with living benefits. So kind of full range. Another awesome thing to look at, especially if you're in competition, is the built-in ROP rider. So we're always seeing term with ROP, and then we look at the guaranteed universal life. And I think one of the big challenges with guaranteed universal life is that traditionally they really don't build up that much cash value. So what American National has done, again, at absolutely no cost, has kind of built in a ROP rider into the policy to give your clients a exit strategy other than death. So a great example is, here we have a hypothetical example on the screen, a 65-year-old male, he purchases a $500,000 policy guaranteed to age 105. Now, when you buy the guaranteed universal life, since you're minimally funding that contract, there's not a whole ton of cash value, but take a look at what American National does. In year 15, the total premiums paid in is $223,000. What they're doing is they're telling the client, hey, if you want to cancel, surrender your policy, although there might be minimal cash value, we're going to give you 65% return or premium paid, which is about $144,000. And then this is where it gets really interesting. In year 20, starting in year 20, that client paid in $297,000. He gets 100% ROP. Right back, $297,000, $377,000, and he also has that option in the 25th year. But very important to remember, starting in year 20 of that policy, 100% ROP. So a great example, if you're in any competition with guaranteed universal life contracts, most of the time they're going to be a stripped out GUL with very little to no cash value. You can come in and basically say, hey, not only do I have living benefits, but we also have this great one-of-a-kind ROP feature that basically gives you 100% of your premiums back in year 20 without any additional cost. That is a huge selling point, and we see it on a daily basis, helping agents win more cases by presenting that option. So very, very, very neat feature to look at, and it's built right into the illustration. It shows you in black and white what you're actually going to be receiving. Real quickly here, there's an awesome $2,000 Amazon gift card incentive for annuity sales. This is running all the way through April. We've got some awesome incentives on the life side as well, but basically by writing different annuity products, minimum of 3 applications, you can earn up to that $2,000 Amazon gift card. Our annuity division, which is headed up by Josh and Ashley, they can get you all the details on the Anico annuity portfolio, help run illustrations, and make sure that it's a great fit for your client. So definitely reach out to them, and they can help you out with any of those scenarios.
Okay, good stuff, Joe. And let me also add that GUL by American National, okay, if you look at it compared to any other GUL, what you're also going to find, it's the least expensive permanent option. And then on top of that, these built-in living benefits and the return of premium guaranteed starting at year 20, and the commission is awesome. Even the agent street level, very, very high comp. So that is a no-brainer when you're talking about permanent insurance solutions. Okay, without further ado, let's jump into the feature presentation by Mr. Jonathan Sachs at American National. So again, sit back, relax, take plenty of notes. You're about to witness some great stuff that will help you finish off 2020 in an awesome, great way. John, you there?
I am. Thank you very much.
Yep,
Bill, Joe, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. As you mentioned, everyone's probably at home right now, and it's interesting times, but thank you very much for being on the call. Thank you for having me. Today, we're going to talk about our retirement plans for the small business owner. It's actually what American National specializes in when it comes to retirement plans. Our niche market is that sole proprietor, is that single person plan, all the way up to 25 lives. So that very small personal business. We will take plans that are up to 100 people. And that's as far as we go. I mean, on a case-by-case basis, we might look at something bigger, but we have a very niche market. We go after those small businesses. That is something that most of our competitors won't even touch. So it's not only something that we offer, but it is something that is unique in the market. Now, why do we want to talk about retirement plans for the small business owner? Well, if you think about it, everyone's talking about retirement because of all our baby boomers. We've got a lot of baby boomers out there that are retiring, and the government realizes that they're not the ones who are going to pay for retirement. And we can have a whole different discussion on Social Security, because the discussion of whether Social Security is going to be there, whether it's going to pay out, how long it's going to last, that's an hour-long discussion, and not everyone's on the same page. But the government realizes that also. The government is actually moving retirement to the private sector. They are looking for the private sector to help people retire. As a matter of fact, they always say that Social Security is not meant to be your retirement vehicle. It is meant to help with your retirement. They just passed the Secure Act. It is brand new, and it's done some really great things like increased limits. Interestingly, it increased the retired minimum distribution age. It increased some tax credits, and it makes qualified plans available on a prior year like you can with an IRA. It used to be that once you finished the end of the calendar year, you could not set up a qualified plan. You could only set up an IRA and do a prior year contribution. Well, starting for 2020, not 2019, starting for 2020, that is now allowed with a qualified plan. So in the first quarter of 2021, if someone had to set up a plan, they could set up a 2020 plan and make a prior year contribution. When it comes to qualified plans, this is an opportunity for you to go out and offer one more solution to the people that you're already in front of, to the clients that you're already talking to on a day-to-day basis. We're going to give them an opportunity to build wealth. We're going to give them an opportunity to massive tax deductions that we're going to discuss here in just a little bit. At American National, we are a turnkey solution. What I mean by that is we do defined benefit plans and defined contribution plans. We do the ubiquitous 401k. We do defined benefit plans. We do the new kid on the block, which is the cash balance plan. We do 412 plans. All of our 401k plans are Roth 401k, and we're definitely going to talk about that. One other interesting thing is when you're talking to your client, some CPAs still believe that if you are a partnership or a sole proprietor or an LLC taxed as one of those, that you cannot have a qualified plan. You're limited to the SEP and the simple IRAs of the world. That is no longer true. We even do 401k plans for townships, 501c3 nonprofits. So it doesn't matter what type of business entity you are, as long as you're not the government, because the government does 457. It doesn't matter who you are, you can have a qualified plan. As I mentioned, our target market is for 25 lives or less. But at American National, what we do is every single client that you present to us, we design a customized plan to meet their goals, to meet their obligations, to meet their needs. And let's talk about some examples. As much as I don't like SEP IRAs, the great thing about the SEP IRA is typically somebody goes to their accountant, has a tax problem, they need something to abate that tax problem. The only thing that CPA can think of is a SEP IRA, and that's their first exposure to retirement savings, their first exposure to tax deductions, and what these retirement plans are capable of. So in that regard, I love CPAs because they expose them to this. But what I want to do is I want to take it a bit further than that. Your client has a SEP IRA. You know what, Mrs. Client? Congratulations. I'm glad you set that up. But let me show you something. Assuming that your client is making $50,000 a year, is age 50 or older. The reason why I'm using age 50 is because that's when the catch-up provision comes into effect. If you're in a SEP IRA, your maximum contribution is 25% of your W-2 income, or your net income if you're a sole proprietor. So 25% of 50,000, some easy math, you're at 12.5. If you take that same individual and you put them in a 401k plan, the profit sharing portion of a 401k plan has that same 25% limit. So it mimics a SEP IRA. But it also has an employee deferral. That employee deferral is up to 100% of your income, not to exceed $19,500. That's the 2020 limit. As I mentioned, I'm showing somebody that's age 50 or older because I want them to use that catch-up provision. That catch-up provision is an additional $6,500. Basically, the government realizes that people that are getting older don't have enough money for savings, and so they've given a catch-up provision for individuals that are age 50 and older. So take a look here. Making $50,000 a year, you can put $38,500 into a qualified plan. Am I beating that SEP IRA? Yes. By a lot? You better believe it. Mrs. Client, why would you not do this? Don't you want the extra $20,000+ of tax deductions? I've never met a small business owner that doesn't need a tax deduction. They don't knock on my door and say, Jonathan, I don't pay enough in taxes. Can you help me out? It's always the other way around. Uncle Sam is killing me. They're taking too much. What can I do to save? I need a tax deduction. If you can show a small business owner a tax deduction, you're going to have their attention. The other example is somebody making $100,000 a year. Again, we aren't just beating them by a little bit. We're doubling their tax deduction. We're doubling their retirement savings. Now, at the top, it says we can beat a SEP IRA 98.5% of the time. I wanted to put 98%, but the anti-business unit known as compliance, they said that's a little bit too much, even though I had the backup for it. So we set it at 95%. My point here is just because your client has something in place, don't walk away. Just like when you walk in and your client has an insurance policy, you don't walk away. You offer to review it. Let's take a look. When was the last time it was serviced? Have you even seen that person? The same concept applies here. Now we're going to talk about the Roth 401k. I call the Roth 401k the great equalizer. The reason why I call the Roth 401k the great equalizer is because the Roth IRA has two big problems with it. The first problem with the Roth IRA is the contribution's not all that much. For 2020, the limit is $6,000. If you're age 50 or older, there's a catch-up. And that catch-up is an additional $1,000. The other big problem is the government said, if your client has the audacity to make too much money, this is not for them. If your client makes too much money, I don't care how much they like the Roth IRA, they're not allowed to have a Roth IRA. Well, the Roth 401k came about over a decade ago. And the Roth 401k falls under federal law, ERISA. And one thing about the federal government is they're not allowed to discriminate. So there is no income restriction. What I mean by that is I don't care how much your client makes anymore. If your client makes $1 million, it doesn't matter. Now everybody has access to Roth contribution. But not only that, the Roth contribution is not $6,000, it's $19,500. The catch-up is not $1,000. The catch-up is $6,500. Mrs. Client, here is qualified tax-free retirement income. Where else can you give somebody tax-free retirement income? The only other place that I know of is an overfunded IUL or life insurance in general. What's the biggest problem with that solution? The biggest problem with that solution is you have to be insurable. But you know what? I don't want to fight you on that because I think overfunded IUL is a great idea. What I want to do is I want to talk about diversification. We have been taught since day one in this industry not to put all your eggs in one basket, that you need to diversify. You need to help your clients spread the risk. So do both. If you have a client that's overfunding an IUL, you know what I know about your client? They have disposable income, and they have quite a bit of it if they're funding that IUL correctly. So do both. Do they not need the additional income at retirement? Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Offer them the Roth 401k plan. So here's an extrapolation. The thing about the Roth 401k is the deferral is the Roth side, but the company can still make a profit-sharing contribution of up to 25% of your income. That is still on a pre-tax basis, meaning you're actually going to have two buckets of money. You're going to have one that went in pre-tax. You get your tax deduction. The money comes out fully taxable at retirement. The other bucket of money is Roth money, qualified tax-free retirement income. And the great thing is, if you roll that Roth money into a Roth IRA, no required minimum distributions. There are no required minimum distributions for Roth IRAs. So you make that roll from the 401k to the IRA, and you avoid required minimum distributions. So we're going to change the page. We're going to hop over the fence to the defined benefit. Defined benefit plans are when your clients are looking for just something a little bit more. And I'm going to show you how powerful these plans are. Here is a typical example. You've got a small business owner. They've got 3 employees. Your small business owner typically is older than the employees and typically makes more money. In this case, the target contribution is $116,000. I'm rounding down here. $116,000. So the business owner can put $116,000 into this plan every year. How much of that is tax deductible? And the answer is all of it. If I can show your small business owner the ability to put $116,000 into a retirement plan, keep 87% of it, and take a tax deduction on the entire contribution, you've got a friend for life, right? You've got a client for life. Not only that, but if you look at the tax deduction covers whatever contributions the employees are receiving. Lastly, if you offer this type of benefit to an employee, it's kind of like golden handcuffs. You don't see defined benefit plans that much anymore. Now they're making a huge comeback. And the reason for that is actually on the next slide. What happened is defined benefit plans were going away. You always saw in the headlines that these plans were underfunded and running into trouble, and they're going away. Everyone's getting rid of them. They're freezing them or they're terminating them. So what the government did is they made the contribution flexible. And here's an example of what I'm talking about. Remember in the previous slide, the contribution is roughly $116,000. But what happens is the actuaries crunch the numbers and they send out a letter at the end of the year. Mrs. Client, congratulations, it's now time to fund your plan for the first year. Your minimum required contribution is $54,500. The maximum allowed deduction is $146. We explained this to the client when we designed the plan, and we designed the plan to work in her favor. She had a banner year. She funded at the maximum. We know target was 116, but she funded at the maximum. Because she funded at the maximum, it creates a cushion. And look what happens in year two. Year two, the actuaries crunch the numbers, and out goes the letter, "Dear Mrs. Client, please fund your plan for the second year." Look at the minimum. It's $500. The maximum increased a little bit. Oh, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. The client had another good year and just decided to do level funding. Look at year three. Is that a lot of flexibility? Do you think the client can handle that? Now, I would never tell the client to skip a year of funding. You don't want to do that. Basically, what's happened is traditional defined benefit plans, when you overfund them, you create a surplus account. It is that surplus account that creates this cushion, this flexibility. If you did zero in year three, in year four, that minimum would probably shoot right back up to $50,000 or even $60,000. And you don't want to be in that predicament. So we always vet the client to make sure they understand this. And I would implore them to do something, 10, 20,000, 30,000 in year three, something, even though it's a bad year. But this is how you protect the client of years, much like this one, right? So this is great, but what about something that's a little more powerful? That is the 412 plan. The 412 plan is a defined benefit plan that is fully guaranteed or fully insured. The reason or the way that we accomplish that is that the annuity that's inside the plan is a fixed annuity. So what do we know about that fixed annuity? Well, it's guaranteed. It's got a floor. If you're using life insurance inside the plan, it's whole life insurance. Again, fully insured, guaranteed. Think about whole life or all those guarantees, right? Here's a scenario, an owner, one employee, putting $200,000 a year into this plan. Again, I'm rounding here. Mrs. Client, here's $200,000 you can put into your qualified plan. You're going to keep 95% of it. How much of that is tax deductible? All of it. What happens if you're living in California in a 50% tax bracket? You just gave them a $100,000 tax deduction. And all they're doing is taking that $200,000 out of their left pocket and putting it in their right pocket. They get to keep it. And they get the tax deduction. And that employee is not leaving. They want that benefit. And you can do a 401k plan on top of this and still get that Roth contribution and still get that tax-free retirement income. So what a lot of people think is if you put life insurance inside of a qualified plan, well, the qualified plan, the contribution increases by the premium of that life policy. That is not the case. So let's take a look here. If we funded the plan, this is a different plan. If we funded the plan with annuity only, we're looking at about $180. To fund the plan with a fixed annuity, the annual contribution is $180. If we add life insurance, in this case, it'll be a $2 million policy on the business owner. If we added a $2 million death benefit, the plan goes from 180 to 187. And here's just the extrapolation really quickly. Assuming a 30% tax bracket, it's an additional $5,500. So for an additional $5,500, you're going to get $2 million of death benefit. As you can see there, the premium, the life premium is $50,000. Do you want the commission on a $180,000 annuity or on $50,000 life premium? I know everyone's on mute, so I can't hear you all raising your hand and talking about the life insurance premium. But the way that you market this, the way that you go about this, is you don't go and talk about life insurance and qualified plans. You go and sell a qualified plan. You go and show them the benefit of having a defined benefit plan. And then you can, oh wait, there's more. You know, this plan works very well. It does everything that we've tried and need, and it meets all of your goals. But you know what? For an additional $8,000 a year, how about we add $2 million of death benefit? That's the way you should approach this. Sell them on the defined benefit plan. The life insurance should be the icing on the cake. True story, there was a female singing artist out in California. She was rated table 14. I didn't know we had table 14, but it's our last table. And she saw the life insurance premium and refused to buy the life insurance. So we showed her this approach. We made the sale. What I'm talking about here is life insurance aside of a qualified plan. But what I'm also talking about is life insurance is on sale inside a qualified plan. Why do I say that? Well, how much of that contribution is tax deductible? The answer is all of it. That 187, to round up, that 188 annual contribution, all of that's tax deductible. If you're in a 50% tax bracket, you're buying life insurance for 50 cents on the dollar, right? So how did that life insurance death benefit remain tax-free? What happens is the law says you have to pay taxes on that life premium. So we tax you on term life insurance. You know what the difference between the premium for the whole life versus the term? Basically, they're going to get $10.99, depending on the size of the premium, the size of the contract. They're going to get $10.99 for maybe $3,000, something in that range. That is how the life insurance maintains its tax-favored benefits. Life insurance is on sale inside defined benefit plans. So I know we've gone over some different retirement plan ideas rather quickly, but what I really want you to know is you need to be talking to everybody. You have a book of business, and you want that book of business to think of you when they have a need. So what you do is you do mail campaigns. You're always reaching out and touching them. You're sending them maybe birthday cards or anniversary cards, and you're always thanking them for their business. Well, now that opportunity to go back, you know, Mrs. Client, thank you for doing business in the past, but we haven't talked about your retirement plan. Oh, I didn't know you did retirement plans. Well, now whose fault is that, right? If you know CPAs, who better knows your small business owners that have tax needs? Partner with CPAs. Do a client appreciation lunch. You'll have 5-10 people in the room. Warm referrals. Easy. But you know what? You're small business owners too. This is an opportunity for you to set up your own retirement plan. At American National, if you set up a retirement plan with us and you're contracted with us, we'll waive your setup fee. If you have 3 plans with us, yours and 2 more, we'll waive your annual fee. You'll have a free plan with American National. So it's really simple. We have a design questionnaire. This is all we need. You submit it to us and we'll do the rest. I do not work on commission. I work on salary. But I will sell the plan for you. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm not bashful. We will get on a conference call. Me, you, the client. Their CPA? Sure. The lawyer? Great. Their loved ones? Bring them. Whoever they want. They can have ringside seats. In the design questionnaire, we need the information about the company. There's some goals and objectives. But ultimately, all they need to do is check this box down here. It says, check here if you're unsure, and we'll do the rest. If it's a takeover plan, we'll need some additional information. And then lastly, it's the census. Once you get the census, keep it. It's your ability to go and cross-sell. You now know all the employees, how old they are, how much money they make. It's your ability to go out there and cross-sell. You want to keep the census for yourself. Once we have this, we'll turn around an illustration for you in a couple of days. We'll have a discussion, what we design, why we design it, what the bullet points are. If you want to present it to your client, they're your client. If you want me to present it to your client, we'll set up a time and we'll have a conference call. Basically, if you bring me the client, I'll make the sale for you. And I don't get commission. I am nowhere on the app. I will not service your client. They are your client. But I will help you sell these plans. Inside the 401k plan is a group variable annuity. Now, before anyone says anything, this variable annuity is not registered, meaning you do not need a securities license. All you need is a life license. Exceptions are Connecticut, Massachusetts, and New York. So there's 52 investment choices in there. You have a life license. You don't have a securities license. You can't answer any investment questions. We've partnered with Morningstar. Everyone gets one free look with Morningstar. If you want Morningstar to actively manage your account, it's 50 basis points. So there's no fee to the client. It's only to the people that utilize Morningstar. I recommend you put it on all your plans. Our website has everything you need, from the proposed request and census to presentations like this one you're seeing today. This is our group. Bob Klein's my boss. Andy and Dominic are the other plan designers. You can see we've got funny letters after our names. And my point is, if you've got a question, one of us will be able to answer it. And if not, we will absolutely find the answer for you. I do apologize that I spoke so quickly, but I wanted to get this done in a fair amount of time. Bill and Joe, again, thank you very much for having me. Levinson Associates, I really appreciate your time today. And please, I look forward to working with you in the future.
No, that was awesome, John. I mean, I don't think it gets any more direct than that. Basically, you find the client and they'll take it from there. So, I mean, I don't think I've ever heard a small business presentation like that. So thank you so much, especially at a time like this. That's huge. So great stuff. What we're going to do, and I know there's a lot of moving parts, we're going to send out the brochures, all the product info, in today's thank you email. If you don't get it before we close today, please let me or Joe know. We probably have your wrong email address, or it's going into your junk folder, or it's being blocked for whatever reason. So reach out to us. And again, if you have a client or prospect for this and we need to get John on a three-way call, or we need to share his information, no problem. Okay, he just told us what's expected. So very simple, very black and white. That was awesome. Okay, so we're just about done here. Again, we're going to have our question of the day in just a couple more minutes. So I hope you were paying attention to our presentation. Real quick, as we know, we all have plenty of time at home right now. So it's a great time to brush up on training, wisdom, knowledge, motivation, inspiration. The Bill Levinson Experience was just ranked number 209 in the country on Apple Podcasts. So, you say, oh, 209, big deal, Bill. Well, it is a big deal because there's thousands and thousands and thousands of podcasts, especially right now. So I encourage you to check it out. We've had some great guest speakers. They're all listed there in the top right corner. I'm just going to point out a few that I think will help you at a time like this. If you look at the 3 highlighted episodes on the bottom there, on the right is Emmanuel, one of our top MDRT agents that works primarily over the phone and virtual. In the middle there, Ian, a very similar platform. He works from California, his 3rd bedroom. He crushes it year after year. On the left side is Wally, MDRT Levinson agent since 1965. That was just launched last week. We basically talk for 1 hour about selling in today's environment, how he got started, some tips and little tricks that he uses, and how even at his age he utilizes all of our technology and our website and social media campaigns. So it's really, really cool stuff. I promise you, you will learn something. I don't care how smart you are, how new you are, if you're a rookie, you've never sold a policy before, or if you can teach all of us a little something, you're still going to walk away with some nuggets. I promise you that. And I want to hear your feedback. Leave a review on the Apple Podcast channel or our Facebook page or on YouTube, and I will send you the new IUL prospecting book on me, okay? But I want to hear your input because every month I am coming out with new episodes, and I want to make them bigger and better, just like everything else that we do here at Levinson. So please share. Okay, next up is the free scholarship program, updated version, over 402 colleges now across the country. American National is in our program. So we are the only IMO to market this free scholarship program with over 10 carriers, no minimum premium, doesn't cost you anything. They just made some new updates. In fact, think about this for a second, okay? Because if you've been with us, you've heard about this a million times. But Guardian just announced this on their group side to all of their clients who are enrolled in their group program, okay? So Guardian is a direct customer of Sage. So they pay the fee every month or every year, okay? But they saw the value in this, where as an insurance carrier, they signed up with Sage to offer this to all of their clients that are enrolled in the group program. So do you think that you can bring this up on your next insurance or annuity sale, okay, and it's free? There's no skin in the game. There's no nothing. Even if the client doesn't use it, they didn't pay for it anyway. And if Johnny's going to Florida State and they're not in the program, Johnny's cousin Susie is going to Lynn University in Boca Raton. She can use the program, and it didn't cost them anything anyway. So it's just one of those little value add things that you can market, and it also differentiates you from your competition, especially at a time like this, folks, because I don't know a family right now that isn't thinking about little Johnny and little Susie's 4-year tuition that's coming up in a few years, okay? It's going to happen. So this is a great way to not just talk about insurance, but also funding a 4-year college tuition. Okay, moving forward here, I'm going to talk about some upcoming agent training events, and then we are wrapping up in about 2.5 minutes. So real quick, our agency automator platform, we also call it iGenius. We give you a free website, free quote engine. Of course, we have our free mobile app, a CRM tool. We have a database of millions and millions of prospects. That's a great place to prospect and market to small business owners, because you can literally just dial in, hey, I want to work this zip code, small business owners. The system will spit out 1,000 names, emails, addresses, phone numbers every single month, okay? So it's a co-op program. You get the basic, like free website, free CRM. There's no charge to any of that, okay? It's $9.95 a month is the hosting, but the basic platform is free. We pay for that. So there's no reason to not take advantage. Every single day, even right now, at 2 p.m. Eastern, we jump in. Kevin, our programmer, hosts these calls. It's an open forum, gives you an opportunity to ask questions and get comfortable. On the bottom there, Legacy Armor, okay? That is the online safe deposit box. That is the new way for your clients to store all of their policy information, their beneficiary information, secret passwords, family pictures, anything that they want their beneficiaries to see when they pass on is stored under a private secure vault with built-in artificial intelligence. So when that person, say, moves to Switzerland, okay, and nobody knows where Aunt Betty went ever again, but she passes on 12 years later, the beneficiaries are pinged in real time saying Aunt Betty is no longer with us anymore, but here is full access to her online safe deposit box, okay? Do you think that would be helpful? And guess what? Every time those beneficiaries and Aunt Betty logs in to make a change, they see your name, picture, phone number, website, email, okay, which, what do you think that does for you? It keeps your name in front of your clients and their beneficiaries. So when there's a new policy needed or a change, they're going to call and remember you. It's also a great way for you to follow up every year, do a policy review and a review of their Legacy Armor platform. It's free for all Levinson agents to enroll and have your own site to enroll your own clients. It costs your client less than the price of a Starbucks cup of coffee every single month. That's like $4 and change, okay? Plus, you also have an opportunity to make a marketing commission on this, okay? Or marketing support dollars, call it whatever you want. So it's really, really cool. Every Wednesday, 2 p.m., we have these live trainings with the CFO of the company. All right, these are 2 can't miss webinars next week. The reason why I say you can't miss them is because we had to postpone our Levinson Expo for 2020, as you know, because of what's going on. But what we did is we sat down and we condensed 8 hours of live information into 2 hours of webinars. So on Thursday, we're going to handpick all of the highlights, all of the new product launches that we were going over at the Expo. We're going to do that on Thursday's webinar, 2 p.m. Eastern. We are launching Gerber and the new $500,000 instant decision product, okay, which also can be client driven. You talk about a perfect fit for today's times. We're launching both of these carriers, 3 different products next Thursday on Insure Me Now Direct. That's a great place for you to sell online or even push your prospects there to run quotes and buy a policy. You get paid full commission just as if you were face to face with the client. Think Amazon for insurance products. And guess what? You think, oh, direct to consumer, you hear about all this talk in the industry. This is built for you to go direct to consumer so you can compete with the Select Quotes and the Policy Geniuses and the Ladder Lifes of the world. The only difference, A, you get paid full commission, and there's not one carrier and one product. There's 5 carriers and over 12 products for your clients to choose from. 100% client driven, free for you as a Levinson agent. There's no reason, especially in today's times, to not sign up. All right, folks, we're going to move on. Our question of the day. I hope everyone's paying attention. By the way, in that picture on the left-hand side is Floyd Ragg. He was the Miami Dolphins running back. In the middle he's known as Shmi 150. He's a huge guy in the car world. And then that's me on the right-hand side. But before we even jump into that Positive Tuesday quote, I'm going to ask the question of the day. Have your fingers on the keyboard. It's very, very simple, okay? We're talking about American National today, okay? In my opinion, the best permanent product in the industry today is their GUL. And it's priced unbelievably great. Number 1 or 2 every single time, okay? First of all, let's start with that. Number 2, they have free built-in living benefits. Number 3, full guaranteed return of premium starting at what year? What year does the full return of premium start? Whoever answers first and correctly wins the Amazon Fire tablet with built-in Alexa. Do we have a winner, Joe?
Yes, Felicia C. from Texas.
Felicia C. from Texas. We will mail that out this afternoon. We just got a fresh shipment in. Congratulations. The answer was 20. So in the 20th year, full guaranteed return of premium on the American National GUL. I'm telling you right now, if permanent insurance comes up, run a quote for that product. There is nothing else like it. I'm going to end on our Positive Tuesday quote. Never forget the great times. Learn from the tough times, and you will never have the hard times. Folks, together we can. I hope this was fruitful. Great day, great stuff. We're doing the best we can through this challenging time. So I can only encourage you. We're getting more quote requests than ever before. Get out there, get creative. It's time to get scrappy. Go out, make it happen. And when this is all over, we're all going to be happy that we put our right foot forward and made it happen. Have a great rest of the week, a good weekend, great selling. Take care, and thank you again.